AskReddit by that fam kid. What's a sign of childhood trauma? Always saying sorry. Feeling guilty for speaking up. My last boss told me I don't need to apologize so much, I apologized for it. It's instinctive to me. Scared of conflict to the point you avoid it at all costs. Certain that if it happens the other person will hate you, it will end awfully. You've never seen people calmly sit down and discuss their emotions in a loving way, so that world doesn't exist. Hey look, it's me. I have been always scared of conflict to the point of crying. Finding someone perfect for you and then systematically sabotaging it. Me currently, found the perfect person for me, 100% think we were made for each other, but now that things are looking like they are going to get serious, everything in my body is screaming to run away and damp, trying to find faults in them. Hyper-independence. Can't be let down if you never ask for anything in the first place. Can't ask a stupid question if you don't ask questions. Unable to forgive themselves for small mistakes. The more I go down, the more I realize, fuck. Difficulty making relationships, fears of being judged and low self-esteem. Hyperactivity, you can never do enough. Cynicism. No self-esteem. Horrible self-talk. No trust in others or yourself. Living in a fog. No memory of childhood. Anger issues. No tolerance for anything less than perfect, especially from self. Feels like a failure. Can't feel happy. Ruminating and obsessing over the smallest mistake. Always apologizing. Emotional dysregulation. Lack of executive functioning skills. Breakdown as someone corrects or criticizes. Can't express emotions. Over-explaining. Justifying your thoughts and actions in your head as if preparing for someone to pop in and demand an explanation. Oversharing when you haven't known the person long, or the opposite where you don't open up to anybody. To extremes. Deleted. Feeling bad just for existing. Edit. Tism for the award, and I'm sorry to everyone that relates to this comment. I promise you have nothing to be sorry for. Deleted. Hypervigilance. Survival technique. The kind where you know a parent is going to fly off the handle by the sound the floor makes when they walk. They make no eye contact. I know, because even at the age of 45 I will always struggle with FISM. I thought I had autism because of this. I just know it feels as if I'm staring into the sun whenever I make eye contact. Perfectionism. Addictions. Compromised relationship to intimacy, their bodies, eating, money. Perfectionism. This has been a hard lesson for me to learn. I just always thought I was bad at everything or lazy when, in fact, I deal with a crippling level of perfectionism. Childish activities become almost like treats. Edit. Since this is getting big, people can just enjoy watching things from their childhood or playing games or whatever independently from trauma, but it is incredibly common for the people with trauma to basically want to relive their childhood that they lost when they are in a safer environment. I always find myself playing video games from my childhood or watching stuff like The Simpsons when I'm feeling stressed. Peacekeeping. A kid doesn't realize their parent, mom in my case, is an emotionally abusive asshole. All I knew is I didn't want people to be so mad at each other. I think my life would have been better if I hadn't talked them out of divorce. I think so. My parents fought constantly. Verbal abuse at its finest. As the oldest, I'm the peacekeeper. Then I became an unwilling counselor for my mom in my early teens and a whipping boy for my stepdad. These two should never have been together, and our lives would have been better had they divorced. Trouble forming relationships. Fuck. I am always scared that people are mad at me. Always. Sometimes I'll mute someone for a day just so I can preempt them ignoring me because I'm sure they're mad at me. Then end up seeing their next messages later, like wow I fell asleep early last night. I really like that book you mentioned BTW. Constant dark humor or self-deprecating humor. Also the ability to totally pretend crappy things never happened or pretend someone didn't do something awful to you. People might think you're really funny and forgiving, but sometimes they are both just coping mechanisms. This is my go-to. Living with ADHD and past trauma, I have a goldfish memory when it comes to shitty behavior from other people. I'm also not as funny as a lot of people think I am. I just have to laugh at it or I won't stop crying about it. Difficulties trusting, low self-esteem, fears of being judged. Wow, I have all three. Issues with trust, anxiety, rejection sensitivity. An adult acting childlike. People think it's cringe, but age regression is a trauma response. You can especially see this if you've ever been to a psych ward. People are clinging to blankets and stuffed animals. Childhood was probably the last time they existed without being traumatized. This one is so painful for me. I was sexually abused from a very young age, and sometimes I'll go into these states where I can only think, and occasionally talk out loud to myself, in a child's voice. I'm aware of it, but I can't stop. I usually end up curled up with a stuffed animal. Extreme self-cringe. Doubting if what you said was the right thing. Doubting if you acted the right way, or behaved the right way in a social setting. Asking someone several times if you did something correctly. Zoning out because you randomly remembered a traumatic childhood memory. Low self-esteem, lack of confidence. IDK if I have trauma, but this is the worst. My self-cringe only lets me say the safest possible things, which is oftentimes nothing, and it lets me to be very boring. Inability to form and keep relationships, having sparse or little to no memory of your childhood, eating disorders, depression, social anxiety, agoraphobia, extreme emotional shifts, attachment issues, consistent exhaustion, strong unexplainable reactions towards social stimuli, separation anxiety, gastrointestinal issues and complications, substance abuse and addiction, intrusive thoughts, self-destructive behavior, etc. Hi me, it's me again. Delayed emotional maturation. Underlying, unresolved anger issues. Low self-worth. Abandonment issues. Overly sexualized behaviors. I unfortunately read this as delayed emotional masturbation. I was really fucking confused. Maybe it is ironic given your last sentence, lol. Oversharing and feeling guilty afterwards. Overanalyzing everything you say. In some cases, excessive people-pleasing tendencies. Yep, if anyone is interested in this, Google fawning. It's an alternative to fight, flight, freeze. Not an expert, just a survivor, but from what I understand experienced, it manifests when a victim can't get out of an unsafe situation and ends up people-pleasing as an attempt to avoid setting off their abuser or minimize the extent of the abuse. Constantly apologizing for every little thing. Extreme introversion. Little to no outward emotion. Ability to stay calm in emergencies or chaotic situations. Ah, that last one got me. When shit hits the fan I am almost always calm, but when things are just fine, crippling anxiety about what could go wrong, lol. Sieg. Being insecurely attached to friends and romantic partners. Attachment anxiety. Had to come to terms with mine last summer when this girl who I was talking to started pulling away. Avoiding conflict and suppressing your opinions. I suppress a lot around my family and let loose my opinions with friends, so I'm a mix on this one. Know a few good memories. I feel amazed when someone remembers every detail of their childhood, all their school teachers' names from grade 1 through 12. My early years are mostly haze,